Hello, assalamu alaikum. Today we're going to be reading Stories of the Prophets, and we're going to be reading about Prophet Abraham slash Ibrahim, depending on which one you want to say. So, yeah, let's get started. So, first heading says Prophet Abraham. And mentioned in the book the story of Abraham. Indeed, he was a man of truth and a prophet. Some of the people of the Bible and Torah stated that his name was Abraham ibn Tariq ibn Nahur ibn Saruch ibn Nahu ibn Baligh ibn Ahar ibn Shalih ibn Arfshand ibn Sam ibn Nuh. They said that when Tariq was 75 years old, he had Abraham, Nahur, and Haran. Haran had a son named Lut. They also said that Abraham was the middle child of that, and that Haran died in the lifetime of his father in the land where he was born, in the land of Babylonia. I always struggle to say that. At that time, some people worshipped idols of stone and wood. Others worshipped the planets, stars, sun, and moon. Still others worshipped their kings and rulers. Abraham was born into that atmosphere, into a typical family of that ancient time. The head of the family was not even an ordinary idolater, but was one who totally rejected Allah and who used to make the idols with his own hands. Some traditions claimed that Abraham's father died before his birth, and he was raised by an uncle whom Abraham called father. Other traditions said that his father was alive and was named Azar. Into that family, Abraham was born, but Abraham stood against all kinds of polytheism. Allah said, "And we had certainly given Abraham his sound judgment before, and we were of him well knowing." During Abraham's early childhood, Abraham saw that his father made strange statues. One day he asked him about what grammatical error there. His father said that he made statues of gods. Abraham rejected the idea. He played with such statues by sitting on their backs as people would sit on the backs of donkeys. One day his father saw him riding the statue of Marduk. He became furious. Abraham asked, "What is this statue, father? It has big ears, bigger than ours." His father answered, "It is Marduk, the god of gods. These big ears show his deep knowledge." This made Abraham laugh. He was only 7 years old at that time. Years passed and Abraham grew. He noticed that these idols did not eat, drink, or talk, and could not even turn themselves right side up if someone turned them upside down. How then could the people believe that such statues could harm or benefit them? Abraham's people had a big temple full of idols. When he said to his father and his people, "What are these statues to which you are devoted?" What surprised him was the way his people behaved when they entered such a temple. They bowed and started to cry, begging and imploring their gods for help. Such a sight was so funny to Abraham, but later he felt angry. It was astonishing that all those people could be so foolish. Weird grammatical error there. Moreover, his father wanted him to become a priest. One night Abraham left to the mountains. He walked alone in the dark until he chose a cave in the mountain where he sat, resting his back against its wall. He looked at the sky, he looked at the planets and stars which were worshipped by some people on earth. His young heart was filled with tremendous pain. He considered what was beyond the moon and the stars and the planets, i.e. Allah, and was astonished that these celestial bodies were worshipped. Allah the Almighty revealed, "And thus did we show Abraham the realm of the heavens and the earth, that he would be among the certain in faith." When the night covered him over with darkness, he saw a star. He said, "This is my Lord." But when it set, he said, "I like not that those who set." When he saw the moon rising up, he said, "This is my Lord." But when he saw it set, he said, "Unless my Lord guides me, I shall surely be among the Erring people, ERRING, not sure. When he saw the sun rising up, he said, "This is my Lord, this is greater." But when it set, he said, "O my people, I am indeed free from all that you join as partners in worship with Allah." His people said, "Have you come to us with truth, or are you one of those who are just?" He said, "No, rather your Lord is the Lord of the heavens and the earth, who created them, and I, to that, am of those who testify." He said, "Do you dispute with me concerning Allah while He has guided me, and I fear not those whom you associate with Allah in worship? Nothing can happen to me except when my Lord Allah wills something. And how should I fear those whom you associate in worship with Allah, though they can neither benefit nor harm? While you fear not that you have joined in worship with Allah things for which He has not sent down to you any authority." And that was our conclusive argument which we gave Abraham against his people. We raise by degrees whom we will. Indeed, your Lord is wise and knowing. All that was finished between Abraham and his people, but the struggle began. The other problem was his father. He not only worshipped idols, but sculpted them and sold them as well. And mention, O Muhammad, when Abraham said to his father Azar, "Do you take idols as deities? Indeed, I see you and your people to be in manifest error." Being a wise son, he did not make his father feel foolish, nor did he openly laugh at his conduct. He told him that he loved him, thereby hoping to generate fatherly love. Then he gently asked him why he worshipped lifeless idols who could not hear, see, or protect him. Before his father could become angry, he hastily added, "O my father, indeed there has come to me of knowledge that which has not come to you, so follow me, I will guide you to an even path." "O my father, do not worship Satan. Indeed, Satan has ever been, to the most merciful, disobedient." "O my father, indeed I fear that there will touch you a punishment from the most merciful, so you would be to Satan a companion in hellfire." His father said, "Have you no desire for my gods, O Abraham? If you do not desist, I will surely stone you, so avoid me a prolonged time." Abraham said, "Peace be upon you. I will ask for forgiveness for you of my Lord. Indeed, He is ever gracious to me." New heading says, Abraham breaks the idols. Abraham explained to the people and his father the beauty of Allah's creation, His power and wisdom. Idol worship is detested by Allah, for Allah is the Lord of the universe who created mankind, guided him, and provided him with food and drink, and cured him when he was sick, and who will cause him to die and be raised up again. However, they would not give up, but clung to idolatry. Abraham left his father's house and abandoned his people and what they worshipped. But he decided to do something about their state of disbelief, but did not reveal it. He knew that there was going to be a great celebration on the other bank of the river, which would be attended by all the people. Abraham waited until the city was empty, then he went to the temple. Abraham went to the temple carrying a sharp axe. He looked at all the stone and wood statues of the gods and at the food laid in front of them as offerings. He approached one of the statues and asked, "The food is getting cold. Why don't you eat? What is wrong with you that you do not speak?" Abraham asked all the other statues around him, "Will you not eat the offering before you?" And then he turned upon them a blow with his axe. Then the people came toward him, hastening. They said, "Construct for him a fire and throw him into the burning fire." And they intended for him a plan, but we made them the most debased. At first they began to guess who had done that to their gods. Then Abraham's name came to their minds. Allah the Almighty said, "They said, 'Who has done this to our gods? Indeed, he is of the wrongdoers.'" They said, "Are you the one who has done this to our gods, O Abraham?" He said, "Rather, this, the largest of them, did it. So ask them if they should be able to speak." They said, "You have already known that these do not speak." He said, "Then why do you worship them instead of Allah, that which does not benefit you at all or harm you?" They realized the senselessness of their beliefs. However, their arrogance would not allow them to admit their foolishness. All they could do was to turn to their power of authority, and as tyrants usually do, to punish Abraham. They said, "Burn him and support your gods if you were to act." Allah said, "O fire, be coolness and safety upon Abraham." And they intended for him harm, but we made them the greatest losers. For several days they collected wood for the fire. They dug a big pit, filled it with firewood, and ignited it. Abraham was put on the catapult. His hands and feet were tied. The fire was ready with its flame reaching the sky. The priest gave his order to cast Abraham into the fire. The angel Gabriel came to Abraham's head and asked him, "O Abraham, do you wish for anything?" Abraham replied, "Nothing from you." His catapult was shot, and Abraham was cast into the fire. But his descent into the blaze was as descent on steps in a cool garden. The flames were still there, but they did not burn, for Allah the Almighty had issued his command, "O fire, be you coolness and safety for Abraham." So the fire submitted to the will of Allah, becoming cool and safe for Abraham. The fire only burned his bonds, and he sat in the midst of the fire as if he were sitting in a garden. He glorified and praised Allah the Almighty with a heart that contained only his love for Allah. There was not any vacant space therein for fear, awe, or worry. It was filled with love only. Fear and awe were dead, and the fire was turned into coolness, making the air pleasant. Those who love Allah as Abraham did not fear. This miracle shamed the tyrants, but it did not cool the flame of anger in their hearts. However, after this event, many of the people started following Abraham, although some kept their belief a secret for fear of harm or death at the hands of the rulers. New heading says, Abraham challenges those who proclaim themselves as God, King Namrud. Abraham had established a definite reasoning against idolaters. I don't know why I can't say that word. Okay. Idolaters. Nothing was left for him except to reason against the people who proclaim themselves as gods. When the king Namrud heard of Abraham's safe exit from the fire, he became very angry. He feared that the status of godhead he had proclaimed for himself was not yet challenged by an ordinary human being. So he summoned Abraham to the palace and held a dialogue with him, which Allah Almighty recounted. "Have you not thought about him who disputed with Abraham about his Lord Allah, because Allah had given him the kingdom? When Abraham said to him, my Lord Allah is he who gives life and causes death. The king said, I give life and cause death. Abraham said, Verily, Allah causes the sun to rise from the east, then cause it you to rise from the west." So he told the king to make it rise from the west instead of the east. So the disbeliever was utterly defeated. Allah guides not the people who are zalimin, wrongdoers. Abraham's fame spread throughout the entire kingdom. People talked about how he had been saved from the blazing fire and how he had debated with the king and left him speechless. In the meantime, Abraham continued calling people to believe in Allah, exerting a great effort to guide his people to the right path. He tried every means to convince them. However, in spite of his love and care for his people, they felt angry and deserted him. Only one woman and one man of his people shared his belief in Allah. The woman's name was Sarah, and she became his wife. The man's name was Lot, and he became a prophet. When Abraham realized that no one else was going to believe in his call, he decided to emigrate. He left his people and traveled with his wife and Lot to a city called Ur, then another called Haran, and then to Palestine. Allah the Almighty told us, so Lot believed in him, in brackets, Abraham's message of Islamic monotheism. He, Abraham, said, I will emigrate for the sake of my Lord. Verily, he is the Almighty, the All-Wise. After Palestine, Abraham traveled to Egypt, calling people to believe in Allah, wherever he traveled, judging fairly between people and guiding them to the truth and righteousness. Hadith about Abraham, Sarah, and Hajar. Abu Huraira, there we go, narrated that Abraham, peace be upon him, did not tell a lie except on 3 occasions. Twice for the sake of Allah, exalted and Almighty, when he said, I am sick. When his people were holding a festival in honor of their gods, Abraham excused himself by saying that he was sick. And when he said, I have not done this, but the big idol has done it. The third was that while Abraham and Sarah, his wife, were going on a journey, they passed by the territory of a tyrant. Someone said to the tyrant, This man Abraham is accompanied by a very charming lady. So he sent for Abraham and asked about Sarah, saying, Who is this lady? Abraham replied, She is my sister. Abraham went to Sarah and said, O Sarah, there are no believers on the surface of the earth except you and me. This man asked about you, and I have told him that you are my sister, so do not contradict my statement. The tyrant then called Sarah, and when she went to him, he tried to take a hold of her with his hand, but his hand got stiff and he was confounded. He asked Sarah, "Pray to Allah for me, and I shall not harm you." So Sarah asked Allah to cure him, and he got cured. He tried to take a hold of her for the second time, but his hand got as stiff as or stiffer than before, and he was more confounded. He again requested Sarah, "Pray to Allah for me, and I will not harm you." Sarah asked Allah again, and he became all right. Then he called out one of his guards who had brought her and said, "Have you not brought me a human being? You have not brought me a human being, but you have brought me a devil." Then the tyrant gave Hajar as a maid servant to Sarah. Abraham gestured with his hand. What has happened?" She replied, "Allah has spoiled the evil plot of the infidel or immoral person and gave me Hajar for service." Abu Huraira then addressed his listeners saying, that Hajar was your mother, O Bani Ma Isama, the descendants of Ishmael, Hajar's son. New heading says, Hajar and Sarah. Abraham's wife Sarah was sterile. She had been given an Egyptian woman named Hajar as a servant. Abraham had aged and his hair was gray, and after many years spent in calling people to Allah, Sarah thought she and Abraham were lonely because she could not have a child. Therefore she offered her husband, her servant Hajar, in marriage. Hajar gave birth to her first son Ismail when Abraham was an old man. New heading says, Abraham questions resurrection. Abraham lived on earth worshipping Allah and calling people to monotheism. But he was journeying to Allah, knowing that his days on earth were limited, and that they would be followed by death and finally resurrection. The knowledge of life after death filled Abraham with peace and love and certitude. One day he begged Allah to show him how he brought the dead back to life. Allah commanded Abraham to take 4 birds, cut them up and mingle their body parts, divide them into 4 portions and place them on the top of 4 different hills. Then call back the birds in Allah's name. Abraham did as he was told. Immediately, the mingled parts of the birds separated to join their original bodies in different places, and the birds flew back to Abraham. Allah the Almighty revealed, "Remember when Abraham said, 'My Lord, show me how you give life to the dead.' Allah said, 'Have you not believed?' He said, 'Yes, but I ask only that my heart may be satisfied.' Allah said, 'Take 4 birds and commit them to yourself. Then after slaughtering them, put on each hill a portion of them, then call them. They will come flying to you in haste. And know that Allah is exalted in might and wise." So that is the story of Prophet Abraham. Thank you for listening, and Prophet Ismail is next. So check that video out. Okay, Assalamu alaikum. Thanks. Bye.